Task Force 373 emerged during one of the most consequential transitions during the Afghanistan War. Following the attacks of September 11, 2001, the United States launched military operations in order to dismantle Al-Qaeda and to remove the Taliban regime that had provided its sanctuary. By December 2001, the Taliban government had collapsed, and a new Afghan political framework began to take shape. Yet what initially appeared to be a swift military success soon evolved into a complex insurgency. Between 2002 and 2004, Taliban elements regrouped in rural Afghanistan and across the border in Pakistan's tribal regions. Insurgent leaders leveraged long-standing tribal networks, cross-border mobility, and local grievances. Attacks against Afghan officials, international forces, and infrastructure increased steadily, and improvised explosive devices became more sophisticated and lethal. Suicide bombings, once rare in Afghanistan, soon became a recurring tactic, and by the mid-2000s, violence had intensified significantly in southern and eastern provinces. Conventional military units could patrol, clear villages, and defend key highways, but insurgent leadership networks often remained intact. The Taliban's command structure operated through shadow governors, district administrators, bomb makers, and logistical facilitators. Removing foot soldiers did little to disrupt planning cycles, and American planners increasingly concluded that degrading leadership nodes could have disproportionate operational effects. This strategic logic focused on targeting individuals assessed as critical to insurgent capacity, and it helped to shape the creation and deployment of Task Force 373. Welcome to Wars of the World. By 2005 and 2006, debates within the US military and intelligence community intensified regarding the best way to manage a growing insurgency. Counterinsurgency doctrine focused on ensuring population security, implementing governance reforms, and building legitimacy. In contrast, counter-terrorism doctrine emphasized precision strikes against high-value targets. Task Force 373 represented a blend of these two approaches, heavily favoring the intelligence-driven counter-terrorism model that had been refined in Iraq. In Iraq, US Special Operations Forces developed rapid targeting cycles that integrated real-time signals intelligence, human sources, and surveillance drones with swift ground assaults. The underlying premise was simple. Insurgent networks operate like interconnected systems. By removing key nodes swiftly and repeatedly, the network's ability to coordinate large-scale operations would be diminished. Afghanistan itself posed distinct challenges. Its rugged terrain, dispersed population, and deeply embedded insurgency within local social structures made operations more complex. But nevertheless, planners believed that targeted pressure could decrease the frequency of attacks and to create space for broader efforts in stabilization. Task Force 373 operated under the authority of the Joint Special Operations Command, or JSOC, which served as the central hub for coordinating the United States' most sensitive special operations missions. JSOC was known for bringing together elite units with advanced intelligence capabilities, providing the command framework within which TF-373 operated. This task force was not a fixed unit. Rather, it was a composite formation that pulled personnel from various special mission units, aviation detachments, intelligence cells, and support teams. Analysts were embedded alongside operators, facilitating a rapid turnaround between intelligence collection and operational execution. This integration enabled the swift analysis of newly captured data, such as cell phones, documents, and biometric records, and it allowed for immediate feedback that could be used in subsequent targeting. The operational model focused on secrecy and speed. Targets were identified through a convergence of intelligence streams. Once confidence thresholds were met, planners would prepare assault packages, coordinate aviation assets, and brief ground teams. Missions could then be launched within hours of final approval, reflecting a concerted effort to stay one step ahead of insurgent movements and adaptations. At the heart of Task Force 373's operations was a classified targeting document known as the Joint Prioritized Effects List, or JPEL. This list identified individuals considered key players in Taliban or Al-Qaeda activities, encompassing a range of figures from senior commanders and shadow governors to bomb makers, financiers, and facilitators who were instrumental in the movement of personnel or weapons. Getting on the JPEL involved a thorough intelligence vetting process. Analysts gathered information through intercepted communications, reports from informants, aerial reconnaissance, captured materials, and biometric databases. Proposed targets went through a review process within the military chain of command, ensuring adherence to established rules of engagement and legal standards related to armed conflict. Targets were typically categorized according to their priority level. High-priority individuals were often directly involved in planning large-scale attacks or managing cross-border logistics. Those classified as lower-tier individuals could still hold operational significance within specific districts. Importantly, the list was not static. Names could be added or removed as intelligence assessments evolved. The choice between capture and kill was context-dependent. Whenever possible, missions focused on detaining suspects for interrogation, as detainees could shed light on network structures, funding sources, and forthcoming operations. However, if a target posed an immediate threat or chose to resist, the use of lethal force might have been deemed necessary. The effectiveness of Task Force 373 relied heavily on the seamless integration of intelligence, and signals intelligence played a crucial role, intercepting communications between insurgent leaders, while human sources provided vital insights into meeting spots and safe houses. Unmanned aerial systems monitored movement patterns, and biometric databases were utilized to verify identities. This intelligence gathering process followed a consistent cycle, often referred to as find, fix, finish, exploit, analyze. Initially, analysts pinpointed a potential target. Next, they verified the individual's whereabouts and activities. Following that, operators carried out the mission. The materials collected during the operation were then exploited for further intelligence. And finally, analysts reviewed the information to support ongoing targeting efforts. The speed of this cycle was critical to the overall strategy. Insurgent leaders often moved between various compounds and villages, so any delay, even within a 24-hour period, could make intelligence outdated. By blending surveillance, analysis, and direct action, Task Force 373 was able to maintain sustained pressure on the leadership of insurgent networks. Most operations conducted by Task Force 373 took place under the cover of darkness, using the night as a tactical advantage to enhance concealment and to achieve surprise against hostile targets. Helicopters would insert specialized assault teams into remote and often inaccessible valleys, agricultural compounds, or rugged mountainous terrain, in order to minimize their visual and auditory footprint. In some instances, ground convoys could stealthily approach targeted locations, employing evasive maneuvers to avoid detection by enemy observers or signaling devices. Upon arrival, the assault teams quickly established a strong perimeter to prevent any potential escape routes for the target or their associates. Entry teams breached fortified doors or walls using mechanical tools or explosive charges, ensuring swift access. Once inside, operators systematically cleared each room with a methodical approach that prioritized the safety of civilians while confirming the presence of the target. Occupants were carefully separated and secured to mitigate risks, and biometric devices were used to quickly verify identities, ensuring that no innocent individuals were detained unnecessarily. Meanwhile, specialized sensitive site exploitation teams began collecting critical intelligence materials, including documents, electronic devices, and other relevant artifacts that could assist in future operations. These missions, while intricate and precise, were designed to be completed swiftly. Prolonged firefights not only heightened dangers for nearby civilians, but also posed significant risks to the assault forces themselves. Despite careful planning, not all operations unfolded smoothly. Intelligence reports were sometimes incomplete or inaccurate, and there were instances where targets managed to evade capture by leaving just moments before the team's arrival. Additionally, any armed resistance could escalate rapidly, further complicating the operation. Afghan compounds would often house extended families, meaning that nighttime incursions frequently involved multiple civilians. Language barriers added yet another layer of complexity to communication efforts, complicating both the sorting of individuals and the dissemination of orders. Even with strict adherence to operational discipline, the sudden and alarming nature of a forced nighttime entry could evoke deep fear and resentment among residents, creating a legacy of mistrust that would impact future interactions. Afghanistan's geography significantly influenced the operations of Task Force 373. The rugged mountainous terrain limited mobility, requiring precise aviation planning to navigate effectively. Narrow valleys and scattered villages offered many hiding places for insurgents, while irrigation systems and agricultural compounds provided even more opportunities for concealment. Insurgents leveraged their local knowledge to evade detection, often setting up safe houses within sympathetic communities or areas with minimal government oversight. Cross-border routes also facilitated the movement of leaders between Afghanistan and Pakistan. To accurately identify specific individuals in such complex environments, detailed intelligence was essential. While aerial imagery could verify the layout of a compound, confirming the presence of a specific target remained a challenge. Even missions considered high confidence were fraught with uncertainty, highlighting the difficulties faced in the field. Task Force 373 functioned differently from the conventional units within the International Security Assistance Force, or ISAF. While ISAF focused on ensuring population security, promoting development initiatives, and training Afghan forces, TF-373 operated under a more restricted command structure. This often meant that mission details were not fully shared with coalition partners, which helped protect intelligence sources, but sometimes led to friction. Local commanders who were responsible for engaging with communities often received updates only after the raids had taken place. Additionally, Afghan political leaders expressed concerns regarding sovereignty and the social repercussions of nighttime operations. As time went by, Afghan Special Operations Forces increasingly began to partner in these raids. Afghan commandos took part in both the planning and execution stages, with American forces offering essential intelligence and aviation support. This shift was designed to strengthen Afghan capabilities and to address political sensitivities, although some regions still harbored perceptions of foreign dominance. Despite efforts to minimize harm, some missions carried out by Task Force 373 unfortunately did lead to civilian casualties. During certain engagements, supporting fire such as rockets were utilized in response to resistance. Occasionally, tragic outcomes stemmed from misidentification or flawed intelligence. These incidents sparked increased scrutiny over policies of targeted killing. Critics argued that civilian casualties undermined counterinsurgency objectives, which focus on protecting local populations and building legitimacy. Even unintended casualties can provide fodder for insurgent propaganda and can weaken trust in both Afghan authorities and international forces. Those supporting these actions, however, contend that precision raids are more targeting and discriminating than large-scale bombings or widespread detentions. They highlight that operations are conducted within established legal frameworks, and that they adhere to the rules of engagement. In 2010, the covert activities of Task Force 373 came into the spotlight when classified battlefield reports were leaked by Chelsea Manning and later published by WikiLeaks as part of the comprehensive Afghan War Diary. These documents included thousands of field reports, some detailing specific missions undertaken by TF-373, a unit recognized for its targeted operations against high-value insurgents in Afghanistan. These disclosures offered an unprecedented look into the complex operational details of modern military engagements, revealing not only the tactics used by Special Operations Forces, but also the scope and frequency of these targeted actions. This surge of information sparked significant international discussions about finding the right balance between national security and the crucial principles of transparency and accountability in contemporary warfare. It raised urgent questions about the ethical implications of drone strikes and other forms of targeted killing, pushing policymakers to consider the broader impacts of such strategies on both domestic and global fronts. For historians, the leaked documents became a vital primary source, documenting the tactical realities faced by military personnel in the field and enhancing our understanding of the intricate nature of the Afghan conflict. At the same time, those in positions of authority recognized the alarming vulnerabilities within digital information systems, emphasizing the need for improved cybersecurity measures in order to safeguard sensitive military data from future leaks. Ultimately, the impact of these leaks continues to resonate today, shaping ongoing debates about the conduct of war in the digital age. Task Force 373 stands as a notable example of precision warfare in the post-9/11 era. It demonstrates how contemporary militaries combine surveillance technology, intelligence databases, biometric identification, and rapid response units in order to tackle networked adversaries. The withdrawal of US forces and the subsequent fall of the Afghan government in 2021 sparked a fresh examination of 2 decades of military strategy. Some analysts maintain that ongoing counter-terrorism efforts prevented Afghanistan from becoming a secure hub for transnational terrorist operations during that time. In contrast, while others argue that there were tactical wins, they could not make up for the underlying political and institutional failings. From a historical standpoint, Task Force 373 symbolizes both the strengths and weaknesses of intelligence-led warfare. It demonstrates confidence in data integration and targeted operations, Yet it also brings to light the ethical complexities of executing covert missions within civilian settings. Its narrative is woven into the larger story of the conflict in Afghanistan, a war influenced not only by tactical battles, but also by challenges in governance, regional dynamics, and the persistent struggle to convert military precision into lasting political stability. Task Force 373 remains a key chapter in the story of 21st century counterterrorism, embodying the tension between secrecy and accountability, immediate security needs and long-term legitimacy, as well as the promises and uncertainties of precision warfare. Thank you for watching today's video. If you found it informative, please leave a like or a comment down below. All of our content, from the research and script writing to the editing and narration, is completely human driven, without the use of AI. So if you want to support our channel, consider subscribing and use the bell icon to get notifications on when the next Wars of the World video is released. Thank you for watching.